Earlier, we saw the derivative visually as a tangent slope. Then we studied limits, because tangent slope is really about approaching. Then we studied continuity, because we needed to understand safe behavior near a point. Now we are ready for the formal derivative definition. This chapter is not starting the derivative again. It is turning the visual idea into an exact formula. The derivative at input will be defined using a limit of secant slopes. Imagine a car driving on a road. If it travels 100 kilometers in 2 hours, the average speed is 50 kilometers per hour. That average uses a whole interval of time. But the speedometer shows something different. It shows the speed right now. This is the difference between average rate and instantaneous rate. The derivative is the mathematical tool for measuring that instant rate of change. Now that limits are available, we can describe tangent slope precisely. The visual idea was that secant lines move closer and closer to a tangent line. Limits tell us what those secant slopes are approaching. So the derivative is not just a drawing, it is an exact limiting value. This chapter builds that formula from input change, output change, secant slope, and a limit. Start with 2 points on a curve. A line through 2 points is called a secant line. The secant line has a slope. That slope is average rate of change. It compares output change with input change. So before we can understand the derivative, we must understand the secant line. The secant is our starting tool. It is not the derivative yet. It is only the average slope between 2 points. Now keep the first point fixed. Let the second point move closer and closer. Watch the secant line rotate. As the moving point approaches the fixed point, the secant line approaches one special line. That line is the tangent line. The tangent line shows the direction of the curve at one exact point. This is why limits are necessary for derivatives. The derivative is not found by jumping to one point immediately. It is found by watching what the slopes approach. This is the connection between limits and derivatives. The secant slope is a fraction, change in output divided by change in input. But if the 2 points become exactly the same too early, the input change becomes 0. The output change also becomes 0. That gives 0 divided by 0. So we do not plug in 0 immediately. Instead, we let the input change approach 0. The derivative is the limit of the secant slope. Let us build the derivative formula from the graph. Start with a fixed input, called A. Choose a nearby input, called a plus h. The horizontal distance between them is h. That is the input change. The output at the fixed input is f of A. The output at the nearby input is f of a plus h. So the vertical change is f of a plus h minus f of A. The secant slope is output change divided by input change. That gives f of a plus h minus f of A divided by h. Now let the nearby point approach the fixed point. That means h approaches 0. The limiting secant slope is the derivative. Now watch the role of the limit. The value h is the horizontal gap between the fixed input and the nearby input. When h is large, the secant line gives a broad average slope. When h becomes smaller, the slope becomes more local. As h approaches 0, the moving point approaches the fixed point. The secant line approaches the tangent line. So the derivative is the value the secant slopes approach as h goes to 0. This is why derivatives depend on limits. Let us calculate one derivative from the definition. Take f of x equals x squared. We want the derivative at x equals 2. So the fixed point is 2, 4. A nearby input is 2 plus h. The nearby output is f of 2 plus h. Now we compare the nearby output with f of 2. This gives the average slope between 2 nearby points. Then we let h approach 0. For f of x equals x squared, f of 2 is 4. F of 2 plus h is 2 plus h squared. So the slope expression becomes 2 plus h squared minus 4, divided by h. Expand 2 plus h squared. It becomes 4 plus 4h plus h squared. Subtract 4. Now we have 4h plus h squared. Divide by h. The expression becomes 4 plus h. Now, and only now, let h approach 0. The derivative at x equals 2 is 4. What does the answer 4 mean? It means that at x equals 2, the curve y equals x squared has tangent slope 4. Near that exact point, a tiny change in input produces about 4 times as much change in output. This is local information. It describes what the function is doing right there. That is the power of the derivative. There is another beautiful way to feel why derivatives make sense. Take y equals x squared. Think of x squared as the area of a square with side length x. If the side grows by a tiny amount dx, the area grows by 2 thin strips. One strip has area x times dx. The other strip also has area x times dx. The tiny corner dx squared becomes extremely small. So the main area change is about 2x dx. That means the rate of area change with respect to x is about 2x. At x equals 2, that gives 4. This is only an intuition preview. In the next chapter, we will turn this into derivative rules. Let us correct 3 common mistakes. Mistake 1. Thinking the derivative is just any slope. Correction. The derivative is the limiting slope at one point. Mistake 2. Putting h equal to 0 too early. Correction. Simplify first, then take the limit. Mistake 3. Thinking the derivative describes the whole graph at once. Correction. The derivative at a point is local. It describes change at that input. Let us summarize. The derivative formula comes from a graph. First we measure input change. Then we measure output change. Their ratio gives the secant slope. Then we let the input gap approach 0. That limit gives the derivative, the exact slope at one input. Next, we will learn derivative rules, including why the power rule works.